just me. Yeah, it's nice, really nice. So, as you know, in this segment, I've been trying to zero in on attention and perception and experience. And every now and then I've mentioned that we're trying to take ourselves out of habitual responses, the things that we already know. Because if you keep on doing the thing that you know, then nothing else new pops up. And maybe some of you are starting to also appreciate that the thing that you know has this affinity for you. It kind of goes, no, don't leave me behind. Stay with me here. Yeah? It kind of keeps you there, keeps drawing you back. And this is, I'll show a video later this week. You'll see two videos this week. One, about a 20-minute talk by this neuroscientist called Bo Lotto on perception. And this is where this example comes from, so you'll see it again. And then the second video of Feldenkrais teaching an awareness through movement lesson. It's what I would consider one of a classic in his repertoire, and he teaches it quite beautifully in his own style, of course. So here's this example, and it starts to tell you something about how previous perceptions and previous learnings and previous knowledges shape us. So notice what this says. It says, read what you see. Okay? So here's the first slide. And read what you see. What is it that you see? What did you read? And then here we go. And all together. All right. And one more. Yeah? Are you sure? Are you sure that's what you are reading, what you're seeing? What would I say if I put this? So, are you really reading what you're seeing? Are you saying, no, you're not. You're falling back onto previous perceptions. You're filling in the gaps that are there. There is no word there. There's no word that I recognize oh, there is one, in. But there is no English word there. Your brain filled that in. And it even filled it in wrong, because that's what it was about. What are you dreaming? Oh. You wanna argue? Yeah, you can argue. That's no problem. Thank you. That's exactly what it is. Because perception is driven by a search for meaning. And of course, if there is some meaning in our background that already exists, our nervous system, if you want to anthropomorphize your nervous system, make it a little person inside your head, which it's not, your nervous system will grab onto the most convenient and the first response, because that's how nervous systems evolved. On one hand, you want a quick response, because quick response means survival. On the other hand, you want a creative response, because creative responses means better ways of surviving. So you're always stuck in this. And when you hear the talk from Bo Lotto, he really drives this point home from a neuroscientific basis. So when you hear instructions, when you hear, let me be more accurate with my language, when you hear offerings of an intention, raise your arm towards the ceiling, there is no content about how to do it. There's no content. You fill in the content based on your previous experience. Should it be this way? Should it be that way? Should it be that way? Should it be any way? Well, obviously, if you only have one way and then something happens to your shoulder joint and you go to do it the same way, you're stuffed. You'll just go, oh, it hurts. Oh, it hurts. Just like you kept on seeing, what are you reading up on that board, and it wasn't there. So you'll just get stuck until you come to somebody who goes, why are you doing it like that? Why don't you try that? And they'll go, oh, never thought of it. So that's a person who's stuck in a loop. They just keep on saying, what are you reading? What are you reading? What are you reading? What are you reading? Yeah, but, yep, good, good. I'll repeat whatever you say. Hey, wouldn't have had the same effect. Of course not. Maybe. That's right. And what was the instruction? Read what you see. Read what you see. So that would be ka ye u ra to us. Yeah, that's right. But it's not, can you read this? No. Most people go, can you read this? They will fill it in. Yes? No, you can't actually see because it's not there. I agree. I agree. We squirm like hell when we squirm like hell. But you do not see that word.
Well, I'm an instruction follower. I'm an instruction follower, and actually, I started to read what I saw.
Good.
Yeah. Hey.
That's right. There's a really another nice example. So years and years ago when, you know, every now and then you come across a high school teacher or a technical school teacher that is a really good teacher and that somehow they do something and it just changes your perspective on things. And I remember having one particular teacher and he said, right, we're going to prepare for a test today because, you know, you have to prepare for your exams. So could everybody please sit down? Now, before you flip open your book, please read all the instructions at the front. You know this one?
I haven't.
And it's like no one reads the instructions at the front. You're going through all these problems. It's like you spend 1 hour mucking around. And he says, okay, time to stop. I said, so you all were very busy with that little test, that little exam. Did you read the instructions up the front? Are you sure? Because the second instruction was, after you read these instructions, don't do anything. So you can see that if you set up a particular context, which is a little bit like this, but you know, Bo Lotto sets it up more elaborately. If you set up a particular context, there's a certain particular set of behaviors that come with that context. And this is what often happens in awareness through movement. Because it's movement, people go, oh, movement, oh, exercising, oh, try harder, oh, make a bit more effort, stretch a little bit. Can you see that that context of doing something in a movement way takes them out of that notion of, oh, how can I reflect on this? How can I research that particular, what does that mean? The search for meaning. What does that mean to raise my arm towards the ceiling? Is that just something about the arm? Can you see that? You can be really led astray. And if you can clarify that for people in your class right from the get-go, then they know what context they're in. And the only thing that will be luring them back is the fact that they think it's exercising. And then it's less of a task bringing them back if they know what the culture is that they've landed in. Yeah. So, you know, if something says, read what you see, it really means read what you see. And what you see is black scribbles on a white thing that you've even learned to recognize that there's sounds associated with those squiggles, which is quite an amazing thing to know that's a k, and a and a y, and a u. So even, you're still bringing something to it, but are you reading what you're seeing and not filling in the bits?
Wow.
So that's the invitation again. When you're doing awareness through movement lesson and you hear an intention being offered to you, please make a circle with your head. Well, there's a way of making a circle with your head that's like this. That's a circle with your head in space. Would you agree? Yeah. And there's a way of making a circle with the head like this. But if you're stuck on the floor and your hands are like this and your legs are like that, then your space of exploration is a little bit limited. So what's the first thing that we might go for? Well, okay, I can't move anything else. I make a circle with my head. But really, can't you move anything else? Really? Can't you do that? Can't you do that? Can't you do this? Can't you do that? So really, is nothing else available? Or are things available that you're not aware as being available because they're outside of your usual frame of reference? And that's the trick. How can you bring what is usually things that you don't perceive as a possibility closer to you so that you can actually perceive them as a possibility? And that is a question about meaning. If you ask the right question, that possibility appears, but not until you ask the right question. Yeah? Oh my! When usually do the right questions arise? When someone goes, "Oh, gee, my neck hurts. I can't do that." You go, there must be another way. There's got to be another way. Well, maybe, yeah. So at the right time, with the right question, you find those possibilities. And these lessons are about creating the space for you to find those possibilities. And as you can see, we're trying to help you discover those more and more and more. What is possible within this particular framework that you have inside you. Yeah. And the reason for this, this kind of reiteration of the same idea in a different way is you have to know, I might have said this before, so please forgive me. You have to know that Feldenkrais never cured his knee. He had a knee injury all of his life. Right? So he never had an operation, but he moved around the damaged part of himself in such a way that for most of the time it didn't cause a problem. So that is exactly the same game that you play in awareness through movement lesson. Circle the head. I can only go that far. That really hurts. All right, well, what happens? Oh, just leave my, thank God. Yeah. So you play the same game. If that, what can you bring to the party? What can you bring to the party? I particularly like salt and vinegar chips. I like to bring salt and vinegar chips to the party. Yeah. So that's what the game is about. And that's why I keep suggesting to you, if you're not sure, sit up, look around, get a few ideas, try them out. Because that's what we're really good at, human beings, actually elaborating what we know more and more by sharing information. That's one of our biggest strengths, yeah? So, yeah, by all means, try to nut it out yourself. Why do I have to do this? Why is that nutting it out? Try to nut it out yourself. Yeah. And then gather a few more ideas. See if someone else has got a good idea. That's called standing on the shoulders of giants. Yeah, you just get bigger and bigger and bigger. All right. Good. Please find your space on the floor and let's do a lesson.